The tobacco itself originated in Kentucky. Kentucky and Tennessee goes through a 6-week process where they're fire curing it in the barns. From there, it goes into another 40-day fermentation process. In that process, we introduce moisture into it. It kind of heats up itself, really merges them together. It's a really nice quality. This is about 20% moisture content, so it has some give to it, and really creates a nice smoke. So once it's harvested, dropped down in the fields, they bring it into the barns, they hang it up and down ladders, moving it to different portions of the barn to get more smoke, less smoke, so you're not really drying the tobacco leaves out too fast. This is a 6-week burn, so the barns are smoking for a very long time. They're adding wood, middle of the night, early mornings. They're out there putting the time in just to get the right consistency that our buyers are looking for. And also what you're going to get in here is there's going to be an oak, hickory, and beech nut smell. And this is really specific to the region of Tennessee and Kentucky.
One of the biggest points to drive home is the fact that once you understand the labor-intensive process of the fire curing of our tobacco, the vernacular on the cigar changes immediately. It's absolutely incredible. So the biggest differential when we talk about the fire curing versus the air curing is first and foremost, the fire curing barns are closed off. And it's funny, I was down in Tennessee a couple weeks ago when they started the fire curing process. The farmer said to me, he said, every day, because the barns are closed off and the smoke rises, people call us saying that our barns are on fire because they don't understand. People not from Tennessee don't know that they're fire curing. So another differential is the fact that they use wood underneath and sawdust, and that actually brings forth a really aromatic smoke. And as you close the barn in, that smoke stays contained in the barn as much as it possibly can, and that's why you get the rich notes of hickory and the earthy tones that we're getting in this particular filler here.
So this came in 40 days ago, and this is going to rest now, or will have rested for 40 days. And what happens here as this tobacco rests?
It really merges with one another. So those 3 crop years are kind of playing off of each other, giving each other a little bit more smoke, less smoke, kind of just gives this cigar the taste that we really need.
And then after the 40 days and it's had its rest period, then it's going to be time to go and put it on the machines by hand and start making some Avanti cigars.
So these machines are from the 1950s, old nonetheless. What these machines were created to do was to mimic the hand-rolled cigars, premium cigars that, came from Italy, came from Europe, with the families that made our cigars. So this apron and roller creates that rolled, almost as consistent as it is, the inconsistencies to give each cigar its unique shape and smoke. So the paste will enhance the flavors that are found in our filler. So the hickory, the oak, that barbecue smoke taste that you get from it, that's gonna enhance it, bring it out, bring it to the tip of your tongue when you're smoking our cigars. What it does is it merges our filler with our outer wrapper. Because the outer wrapper is not fermented, this will allow it to sweat when we get to our first drying process. So in this department, there's 3 points of inspection that we look at. We look at moisture content. Based off of our moisture meter, we determine if it's in the proper range to make sure that the outer wrapper is really married and binded with that internal filler. They also do a visual inspection, looking for any sort of machine-made holes, imperfections in the wrapper itself. This is the Avanti Bourbon flavor.
Okay.
As you stand here, you can kind of smell, it's a smoky smell, smoked banana, apple, really almost like a burnt oak smell as well. This room finishes them, finishing them to the point where you're not going to need a humidor to keep these cigars. This is the way that they're going to be when you're enjoying them with your bourbon, with your wine, out in the backyard, cooking on the barbecue. Many hands touch these cigars before they hit the customer's hands. So it's a very labor-intensive process. We're really focused on quality and keeping in that tradition that we have as a company.
So it's the Cigar Advisors at Avanti Cigar in Dunmore, Pennsylvania. And boys, we've seen some interesting things over the course of the past couple hours.
Oh, yeah.
And the day we've had today, both over at the factory, and you guys have done some tasting, and we've sampled some of the different Avanti and Parodi selections. We were smoking the Superiores before. Tell us a little bit about some of the flavors you guys are finding in that particular cigar.
It's kind of mellow. It's very smooth. I am getting that little sweetness off the wrapper and the filler. I mean, it goes to show you the fermentation processes must be very good because it's just really.
I'll tell you a little secret. This has been the Parodi has been one of my favorites for years. I don't know if you knew that or not, but the Amazzotti has been a go-to of mine, whether it be in my glove box or just to keep a few at the desk. If you have 15 minutes before the end of the day, you want something nice to kick up your feet. Great cigar because it's got a good hefty amount of flavor to it, but it's still nice and smooth, and it's got the hickory flavors.
Oh,
I agree
definitely
with
the
all
hickory,
those type of things. Now, you guys did a lot of pairing with the Avanti Bourbon, which is what Jared and I are smoking. So I know you guys came up with some amazing flavors. What do you, even if you're just sampling it right now with something to drink, what are you tasting off of this?
It's incredible. Like, two things. One is that I never expected a machine-made cigar to be this flavor forward. Because as we spoke off camera before, I did it like a brief stint with machine maids back when in my early 20s, a lifetime ago, you know, and I really haven't smoked anything since. And this is incredibly surprising.
One or two things that you learned that was the most surprising to you about Avanti, Parodi, and Toscano style cigars?
Well, the biggest takeaway was that, well, I guess some other people have already said it, but I really didn't expect it to be this smooth, this creamy, this flavorful, and I thought it would be like a lot heavier in terms of flavor. You know, I'm just really enjoying this.
Full,
Yeah.
heavier body. Well, I think one of the biggest things that I learned today was, even though this is a machine-made process, right? We saw the wrapper, we saw the filler, we saw the machines combining everything, that how many hands are actually in the process of touching this? And I asked around, many of the employees here in the factory have been here for better than 20 years. So there is a wealth of experience, and the fact that this is so labor intensive of so many hands that do touch the product, taking it off the machines, putting it on the drying racks, bringing it in and out, packaging, everything. There is still even the flavoring, still a significant amount of work that's done by hand. This isn't about machine versus premium or machine versus hand. This is still very much a crafted product.
In fact, I forgot about it. I forgot it was machine made.
It's also so apparent how much passion they have when they're making these cigars. They're just a completely impassioned workforce here that is putting these together, and you can really taste it in every single cigar that you smoke here. Now, I've had both just like you guys have, and I prefer the Superiores a little bit, but I have to go on record. I have had many alcohol-infused cigars before, and this is the first one I've ever enjoyed. Machine maids, especially coming from Avanti, have their place. This is a first-rate smoking experience,
absolutely.
hands down.
When we talk about flavor for these things, you know, a lot of time, how many times do we ask, how do you keep your humidor? What percentage? They're dry cured. So you don't need to humidify them. That doesn't mean you can't. And actually, if you want to try to get a little bit of a different kind of flavor out of them, you know, one of the things I learned today was that if you put these in your humidor, introduce a little bit of moisture to them, it cools the smoke. It's a little bit of a different kind of experience. It's a little mellower on the palate. That if you don't want something so robust, you're gonna have a different kind of smoking experience that I think may be a little more accessible to somebody who has never tried this.
Yeah, and for not having a binder, I mean, they burn pretty darn good.
I think of this more in an artisanal capacity.
Yes.
So the fact that you have this delicious looking spread in front of you, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit jealous that I didn't take part of this, some of this. But
And I ate cheese.
That's a big step for you. Good for you. But you know, the nice thing too is this: for as much as, you know, being Italian, I appreciate, you know, some of these fine things too in my own special way. You know, this is an Italian experience made in America. This is our trip to Avanti. If you have not yet had the chance, we highly recommend expand your horizons. There's a number of Avanti options to take advantage of. Also Parodi in a number of sizes. And if you want to try it with a friend, try the Superiore. You cut them in half. It is a cigar of friendship. And check out our other videos here at cigaradvisor.com. And thanks for joining us.